fam, welcome back again to another video you guys were not expecting. So in the spirit of us jackpotting to any country that we see, I know some of you just want to jackpot. So there are some countries you should not even think of jackpotting to, like even if they dash you, like if they either say take for free, you say thank you, I'll rather stay where I am. So even if you are jackpotting, these are the countries you should avoid, and these countries are not limited to. And another thing I want to say is, this country does not mean that they are entirely bad. So why I came about this country is I compared the success rates and the failure rates. I know some of you, I compared the success rates, the failure rate, right? So for example, in Canada now, when people say, if I want to come and tell you don't go to Canada, right? If I compare people that are making it in Canada versus people that are not making it, you see that is a very small fraction. People are making it more in Canada than people that are not making it. So in these countries, I consider people that are not making it rather, despite everything they say they go do, they don't go make them or one reason or the other. So another factor that I actually consider is these countries, they have very high immigration rate that even their citizens they are running away and you are going there. But it does not apply to all, because there is a certain country like that people are moving in masses. Even in the UK said that the number of people that migrated from this country as at between 1 year was 1,000. But then there are some people like us that we are still sitting in this country that we die here, we go nowhere. So one of the factors I consider is these countries that citizens are actually moving out. But like I said, it's not all countries that their citizens are moving out that the country is bad. If you move out, it can be beneficial for me and my family, and I will stay there. You know, pay you, you pay me. And that's why I say I'm comparing the success rate versus the failure rate. So I'm actually be out of that 1% of the success rate. So that's why this video, before you actually digest it and take this into, like I used to say, before you jackpot, make sure you check your long-term goals, your mid-term goals, your short-term goals, and everything. So your own, if it be Pakistan, we go pay you. Maybe say UK, no go pay. Maybe you have future or capacity in making bomb and decide to go and stay in Pakistan. It can pay you because you are like one of them. Whereas you cannot stay in the UK because they will catch you and send you to jail. You get, you might want to start selling gun. You can consider moving to a place like USA because they allow gun, but you cannot do it in Canada because they will arrest you. So that's why I said, before you go to any country, even this advice I'm giving, compare your long-term goals, your short-term goals, because we have some countries that they say high-risk country, this country is not safe, but then we still have people that are staying there. Like somebody like me, where I am, we die here. I never ready to go because why? This country is still they pay me. So another factor that I actually consider is political instability. So political instability is one country that you people should always take note of, because this today they can say all immigrants should go like this, tomorrow all immigrants should go like this. Why are you doing like this? As a matter of fact, I would have added the country into this thing, and that is UK has a lot of very political instability. Today they will say immigrants go like this, tomorrow they will say, see the way they are changing chair minister be UK VI people, this one will say this one, which one are you saying? All those type of countries is good to, but I don't have UK to, because many people are succeeding in UK and UK has more advantage. UK is 37 states in Nigeria. You can do UK out of it. UK. So these countries did not go far. They did not go far. So they have a lot of political instability that will affect you as a foreigner. That's because them going the country get as it be. So the other thing that I actually consider is arch weather. In as much we Nigerians or Africans, we can withstand anything, weather, anything, as long as but these countries, even if you want to withstand harsh weather, at least let it be beneficial. Like now, if I go to Canada and you tell me to wear this clothes during winter, my dear, I go manage. In fact, my health will survive because there are many benefits to it. But then when you say I should enter winter, I don't have anything beneficial, I don't have my own house, I'm struggling, it did not pay. So even if you want to suffer the suffer that makes sense. Don't suffer the suffer that does not make sense. You get, nobody is saying you should not suffer, but when you want to suffer, make the suffer worth it. When you come and suffer we no worse. You should not come online and be disturbing. I worked in clinic. Who sends you? If you want to suffer the suffer that makes sense. Don't be suffering useless suffer. So the next one is ash weather. So another thing that I consider is no clear way to path citizenship or settlement. Like I said, one of the worst things that will actually happen to immigrants is after laboring every time all your life, and then this country does not have any pathway to citizenship, to pay out, and then you've worked 5 years, they've used you, you've contributed to the economy, and then you look back, wait, I don't have anything to show for it, so I still have to extend my visa every year, every month. Okay, hello, Shella, waiting your call. My dear, this type of countries that are not so encouraging to go, because I cannot go and waste my time when I can go to another country and get PR. So another factor that I actually consider to make list of this country is expenses. There are some of these countries that they are just expensive. Should be normal. Like Abuja in Nigeria. Abuja in Nigeria is expensive. And again, they will pay you money that clock to your this thing. You understand? A city should be very, very expensive, and then you are paying me less than I cannot even afford to share room with 100 people. No, now it does not make sense. It do not make sense. So these countries, they are extremely expensive, and if we even get a job, the pay, it did not even reach to even cater for your accommodation, to even feed the gun or long lower. So it did not worth it. But then if a country is expensive, and then the minimum wage is kind of little bit equal, it does not have to be totally equal. Little bit equal is still understandable. But only I should be able to rent house minimum $1,000, and then the amount I'm paying, they pay me is $100. Am I supposed to use my kidney to pay the remaining one? I have just 2 kidneys. So by the time I sell my 2 kidneys, which one will I sell more? So you see, this type of countries, you should avoid them. So another one that I actually consider is there are no jobs. There are some of these countries like that most agents, they will just market to you or anything. Or in most of these countries, if you don't get your job from outside the country, please don't do them. Most of these countries, they don't have jobs. They are citizens, they never see jobs. So who are you? Boss, foreigner. So there are actually no jobs there. And then another factor that I consider is racism. Imagine a country that has all these characteristics that I've mentioned. Please, kill of a machine country. So racism, in as much as racism is everywhere, is still a factor to consider, because racism is one factor that can actually make you or mar you. Because when you're actually in a place and you don't feel welcome, my dear, you know, say abroad, you get as it be, you get as it's boring or anything. In as much as my sweet country, Nigeria, actually has its own ups and downs, but then the fact that you can speak Yoruba to your fellow person, you can speak English, you can see that vibe, you can talk with your gateman, you can chat with your colleague, all those things go still make up. You know, when you come online, you go still cash cruise, all those ones still they make our life they soft. So imagine going to a country where we say they're not saying your papa, they're not saying your mama. If you greet person, God, they no go answer you. Your neighbor no they follow you talk. You know, if you ask gatesman or security man, I bet where you feel buy bread, I bet waiting be this, you know, those kind of things, right there. That's a one-way ticket to society. Was very bad, you will be frustrated. So the next one I is crime rate. Oh my goodness. There are some of these countries, most of you just say Nigeria is this Nigeria. My dear, Nigeria they learn in some country. At least Nigeria still have limit that somebody cannot just come in the afternoon and bring a gun and say, Nigeria they learn for this country. See, Nigeria still have its own benefits. It's not as worse as you people think, as I used to say. Nigeria, the criminal, they still have what's it called? Home training. Aside maybe them going to the bank in the afternoon. Most crime in Nigeria is always committed at night. In the midnight. It is very hard. Aside all this maybe pickpocket or anything, most Nigerian criminal, they don't have mind to be doing afternoon robbery. They still have home training. But you see those abroad, at the afternoon, at the morning, you can even be in front of president like this, my dear. They will show you shake. Those ones who are home training, right? So another thing that another factor I consider is human rights violation. This one is very common. So I know most of these countries actually violate human rights. This thing. So even if you're going to a country, another thing you should check is your human rights. In as much as they don't like us as black, as Nigerian, make sure to be in a country that at least they respect your human rights, so that if the employer fuck up or do shake, and the thing is, imagine a country having all these factors I've complained about, and then they use you, and they've used to pay your money. Who do you want to report to? Is it me? Is it this lover that will go and be dragging the employer from the country? And the thing is, the person will not even understand the language of this lover. So it's better you go with the person that you know, somebody that all this country that if you threaten them, I'll report it to the police, they will be scared, or I'll sue you, they will be scared. Even in Nigeria, if somebody say I'll sue you or take you to the police station, people will be maintained. Do you know how many people have kind of threatened with police station in this Nigeria? You want to go to police station, they will maintain. You get, but anywhere to Nigeria, when they hear police station like this, they will share no more. But you see these countries, you know, concern their papa because they don't value human rights. So, as much as people say Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, sometimes police are still efficient. I don't know, depending on the area, depending on, this is not to say Nigerian police but guys are be at all na bad part. So another thing to actually consider is language barrier. You know, we have some countries that language, there's nothing bad in actually learning language, but there are some that the language is very difficult to learn and it's very wicked to learn. You know, all those languages that you'll be struggling to learn, and even when you're trying to learn it, they don't even appreciate it. Like somebody like me, if I see an Igbo person and I say Kedu Kodi, Abi Negodu, you know, the Igbo person will try to like smile and trying to say, okay, it's not like this, you speak it like this, you understand? That Igbo person will actually encourage me to speak more, and the person will give me this vibe of, oh, I like the fact that you are learning my language or anything. But you see, this country, they not say your papa, but why we learn language, why we learn language? Because these languages, they are not even easy to learn. So if I'm learning it, let me be saying encouragement. You get, like when I was in Russia, then I was trying to learn Russian. At least when I try to speak it, they will still smile at me and say, oh, you're trying. You get all those type of encouragement. So language barrier is another thing to actually consider, because if you're staying in a country that has high this thing for racism, and then you need something, how will you speak it? How will you speak it? So next on my list is some of these countries that are not entirely bad, right? But the thing is, they can just be good for study. So these countries can just be good for you to, you can just study there and find your square root. But definitely these countries, they are not good for us there. Then another thing is these countries, like I said, they might not be job, but even if they are job, the job might actually be extremely very low paid, that they can't even pay your bills. The other one is they're not family friendly. So like I know most of you immigrants, you want to go with your family. Can I go with my family? Most of these countries, they will not allow you to go with your family. So guys, enough of all this blah 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 talk, and this is to tell you the factors I consider, because I know some of you will come in the comment section, you say, hey, you've been living in this place for the past 55 years, can you come? Please, you can see all the factors that I considered. It worked out for you does not mean that, like, when you compare success rate of something, you don't use one person to compare success rate. So that's why when I come and tell you guys about courses that are useless, and then somebody will say, me, I studied this course and I got a job. My dear, after you, who else got their job without course? So using only you as a yardstick is not a success rate. Just like in Nigeria, there's this exam we used to write, JAMB, right? Sometimes when they say, oh, this year people fail JAMB, people are having 56 over 400, 20 over 400. But that does not mean that we still don't have people that had 350, 3 over 400. That one does not say we don't have people that had 390 over 400. That one does not mean that we still have people that went to JAMB office to go and prove that this mark is for them. So when I say people fail JAMB, you know me say people still pass. But what I'm saying is comparing the success rate versus the failure rate, you know, gel at all. So before you leave a comment and say you'll be living in this country for the past something years with your family member, know that we are not talking about you. We are not talking about you and your family. We are talking about people's experience all over the world. It's not you we are talking about, because I know you people cooking I'm in Kinikon for the past coin. Anything, let's go, Jan. So the first one on my list is Cyprus. I know that you people know this one. You've heard the Cyprus, Kinikon. Cyprus is the favorite country for when Nigerian government they are doing scholarship or anything. Cyprus, especially the North Cyprus. So the North Cyprus, the weather is harsh. There's no job there. The place is freaking expensive, and they kind of violate human rights there from what I've read. So Cyprus, North Cyprus is not even advisable for anyone unless you have your money to spend. Like maybe you be, you know, all this happening, babe, what this Dangote picking, Dangote side chick, you have money to spend, okay. But if you know you're struggling with your life and you're gonna start thinking that you work and stuff, my dear, forget about it. So the next on my list is Azerbaijan. So in this country, most times agents actually used to convince immigrants that is actually in Europe. My dear, this is like an Asian Middle East country. This country is not safe. There's no job there, language barrier, and most of all, is actually a dangerous city. Like they have more crime rates even than Nigeria. It's actually not safe. Next on my list is Bulgaria. So this country is a go-to destination for agents that actually deceive people. They say it's in European country. There's a difference between a country is in the European country and a country is actually Schengen. It is not all countries in European country that is safe. You get me? So if you are considering any country that is in the Europe, make sure that it's safe and is in the Schengen area. So most agents, they'll come and deceive you. Oh, this country is in European countries, in Schengen area. My dears, we have just, okay, I'm making a separate video about countries in the Schengen area, and you can actually look it up in Google. Don't allow any agent to confuse your destiny. You got me? So it is not all European countries person they go. There are some European countries that they are European Asian countries. They are not totally European. There are some European countries that won't confirm Europe. They are not totally European. There are some European countries take me Iwamo, Afibi, Ikoba, Tiavaye Mukubatawa. They are not purely European. So don't be falling for, oh, it's in EU, it's the EU. It is not all European country gone that is in EU. Some of them have disjoined, some of them they sacked them, some of them are not. So make sure to always make your findings. So Bulgaria is another one. Usually avoid the weather, there's no job there, there's low pay, and it is not actually in the Schengen area. The next on my list is Kuwait. Kuwait is actually in the Middle East. There is no job there. You can only go to Kuwait only if you actually get your job from outside Nigeria, be outside Kuwait before you go. I know that in Kuwait they actually kind of violate human rights a lot. You can work, your employer should not pay you. There's nobody that report to shut down, come and call me. That's why this is Siberia. This country is like the eastern part of Russia. So the Asian part of Russia. You know, Russia has two parts. We have the European part and then the Eurasian part. So this Siberia is actually Siberia is actually the Asian part of Russia. I know that when it comes to something Asian, I kind of have my reservations about it because they are so in this place the weather is harsh, there's no job, there's all the things that I've talked about. So the next one is Belarus. Belarus is actually a cool place though. It's actually a cool place, but I think they have one of the poorest currency in Europe. There is no job there, absolutely no job. If you go there with €1, you're a rich person. That country is very pure, very pure. So Belarus, the only time I would advise Belarus is if you want to go and study there because you have money there, but there's no job, there's no work and study. But Belarus, I've known few people that actually study in Belarus. It's kind of safe to an extent, but there is no money there. So another one on my list is Oman. All this Middle East. Oman is another country that kind of violates human rights rules. So another one is Peru. Peru have not been safe from the one. They said that in Peru, allegedly, that if you are standing like this, they can carry you and kidnap you. Not like kidnap, like they can rob you. Those ones, they are criminal. They don't have home training. Lately, you get. So avoid Peru, Peru go to Para. So the next one on my list is even pronouncing it Kosovo. I will type it on the screen. Kosovo, if you are from this country, no VSU, the spelling, no give me. Kosovo, Bosnia, Ati, Herzegovina. I'll type it on the screen. So the next one on my list is Ukraine, just because of the ongoing war. But Ukraine used to be a very cool country to study, but there's no work there. So another one on my list is India. Like I said, I know a couple of people that are actually working in India, and they're kind of okay. I've actually stayed in India before, and the thing is, as a girl, I didn't notice anything bad about it, in as much as I used to hear things happen to my fellow Africans, because me, I'm the type that I know they are shades from school to my house, so if you're bad thing, that's why even in Nigeria, I've never experienced any bad thing, because I know they go out now. People where they go out, something that I used to experience bad thing. I'm not just saying, I don't know. So India is not safe to an extent, and they have this kind of dislike for Nigerians, especially, or for blacks, and they kind of violate human rights, especially that they are police. If those that are Indian police, if they catch you. Like when I was in India, I heard a lot of their stories, so it's not kind of safe to an extent, but the people are actually nice and welcome, and there's no job in India. Which job will you want to do? Unless you actually have like African markets. I know some people then that had African market, that your fellow Africans will come and patronize you. Anything aside that, there's no job in India, unless you're actually going there to study. That's why I say some of these countries that actually go for study. So next on my list is Turkey. So Turkey is just good for tourism and for business, unless you're getting that job before you go to Turkey. And even if you're doing that, Turkey is very expensive. There is no amount of money you earn as a foreigner that will equivalent, unless you're a professional, and in that field you have to learn the language to an extent. Next one on my list is UAE. UAE, don't get too much now. UAE, same this thing. they are actually expensive, and I hear how they kind of violate human rights rules, especially for we blacks, right? So this country is just good for what's it called, traveling and tourism. And also moving my own to say, I didn't mention Qatar. Qatar is the kind of fair to an extent. They don't really violate. I think they have a law in place. I made the video about, they have a law in place governing human rights law, human rights for what's it called, for immigrants, unlike other Middle East countries. So next on my list is Brazil. So Brazil has a lot of immigration benefits. They have this automatic birth citizenship. They have, as I think, digital nomad or anything. But why I say you should avoid Brazil is actually because Brazil is known to be as a drug lord country. Like if you're transiting between Brazil, you're going to Brazil, the way they will search you, the crime rate is very high. But me saying a country has high crime rate does not mean everywhere has crime. There's still some severe part of it. So, and then another factor that I didn't mention to consider is some of these countries that actually have natural disasters. Like, for example, these Caribbean countries. I was actually considering moving to these Caribbean countries like Belize, like Kaya, Iceland, like Caribbean countries, Bahamas. So these countries, when it's like around June to November, they actually what's it called, experience natural disaster like hurricane, like storm, like flood, because they're actually on the Iceland, close to the river, close to the ocean, anything. So around November to December, there are a lot of bad things. Sorry, natural disaster that used to happen. So the best time to actually go to Caribbean is when it is between June and November. Don't go to Caribbean because of natural disaster. So that will be all for today. So but then aside natural disaster, Caribbeans are really a good to go place. There's actually work there to an extent, and you know they speak English. You can actually earn money there. But like I said, that's the place I was actually looking forward to actually relocate and settle in. But because of the natural disaster, I cannot be only up and down from June to November. I cannot. So guys, that will bring us to the end of today's video. If there was anyone I did not mention, make sure to leave it in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to read from you, and others would love to hear from you too. So guys, this will bring us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.